5 to 7 minutes. The title of the speech is The Hidden Messages in Water. Water and Metaphysics. Please help me welcome Melody Dealey.
I have always been fascinated by water. My mum and dad called me a water baby. I was either in the pool, in the ocean, or having long hot soaks in the tub. I always lived near water, whether it was a river or a lake, and I loved going to the ocean and feeling the majesty of the waves as they crashed on the shore. With this fascination in mind, I decided that this would be a perfect topic for this evening. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and welcome guests. My topic this evening is The Hidden Messages in Water, which is from this book by Mr. Masaru Emoto. A while ago I saw this book, and it came to my attention and the title appealed to me. And I'd heard people talk about it, and that it had a metaphysical bent to the message, which I find fascinating, being a metaphysician myself. And what Mr. Emoto talks about in here is about hidden messages in water, but really about them being in the crystals that are formed, which ties in perfectly with our Christmas themes, because what are snowflakes? Water crystals. Mr. Emoto, he studied the water because water is such a vital part of life. It gives us liquid to stay alive. Without water, we would die, we would perish. We are made up of 70% water, he states. And the world's waters, 71% of the world's waters are salt water, which is very similar to the amount of water in a human's body. Coincidence? I think not. So Mr. Emoto studied water, and the first thing he did was he did an experiment with music, and he played music, and then he froze the water and looked at the crystals that were formed with the music. And when he played classical music and looked at that water, these beautiful, beautiful, intricate crystals formed. And when he played heavy metal music, the crystals either didn't form, or they were malformed, or hardly anything there at all. So when you think of it, and us being 70% water, and our brains, he states, are 78% water, just think what you're doing to yourself when you listen to music. What are you listening to? When you listen, what kind of a feeling do you get? Does it impact you? I know when I listen to classical music or any kind of music that I consider beautiful, I feel really good. But if I'm listening to the radio and they put some rap on, heavy metal, I'm changing the channel. I don't want to listen to that. I really don't resonate with it. And I think that's because of the water in the body and what happens when you listen to that music. Now, they were then inspired to expose the water to words. And what they did is they put the written word on a piece of paper, and then they taped it to the glass with the words faced in. And they studied the crystals that were created by that. Now, the crystals that were created by the words grateful and thank you were so beautiful. And the crystals that were formed by the words fool were very much like the crystals formed by heavy metal music. They were malformed or hardly created at all. Let's do it created beautiful crystals. Do it? Not so much. And that's probably because of the negative connotation of the word and the closedness of that statement. It's very much a harsh, dull statement. So Masaru Emoto speculates in his book that this is because you find in nature words of beauty and things of beauty and things that bring you joy. But you really don't find things like full. You know, that's a man-made word that comes up. So he postulates that this is why you have the beautiful crystals and the malformed or non-existent crystals. It's based on the vibration that is created by these words. And Mr. Emoto talks about the power of words. He shares that in Japan it is said that words of the soul reside in a spirit called Kotodama, or the spirit of words, and the act of speaking words has the power to change the world. Mr. Emoto states in his books, words are an expression of the soul, and the condition of our soul is very likely to have an enormous impact on the water that composes as much as 70% of our body. And this impact will in no small way affect our bodies. People who are in good health are also generally in good spirits. Indeed, a healthy spirit most comfortably resides in a healthy body. Now, I love the way everything is interconnected. You know, our thoughts, the spoken words, the music we listen to, it all impacts who we are as beings because we are made up of water, or at least one of the reasons. And so what I think, what I say, and then how I am in life, that is so interconnected because of this. This is a metaphysical understanding that everything has a vibrationary frequency. And Masaru Emoto states that water is the master listener, listening to the vibrations that even we can't hear because we have limited hearing, but it can hear it and reflect back to us because of the nature of water. So taking this into consideration, I can see how we are drops in the ocean of life. Society is the ocean, and water is that listener, feeding back to us what we are feeding into it. I will never look at water the same way again. And I want to leave you with, Mr. Emoto states that even just looking at the images of the crystals changes us. So if you wish to look at this book later, feel free to come up and have a look. It's a fascinating book. There's so much more in it, and lots of research that went into the whole subject of the hidden messages in water. Thank you, Mr. Postmaster.